Hey everyone, how are we all doing today? On today's video, I want to go over with you all how to thread a needle along with how to tie a knot. Some things that we're going to be going over is how to prepare our thread. We're going to be looking at how long of a piece of thread we need, along with how we should cut that thread. We're going to be focusing in on how to hold our needle while we're threading it, along with how we should be holding it while we're working with the needle and thread. We're going to learn how to insert the thread into our needle successfully, along with learning how to tie a knot. I hope that you guys learned something from this video, and let's get started. So the first thing I like to take into consideration when working with thread is the length of the thread I'm using. Typically, when I'm working with thread, I never use a piece of thread that is longer than the length of my two arms. When working with thread longer than this, it's more likely to become knotted or can tangle within itself while working with the thread. So to avoid any of that, I suggest using a piece of thread that is no longer than the length of your two arms. The next thing I take into consideration is the type of scissors I'm using. Like in the last video, I suggested that we have a pair of sewing scissors. These scissors I use exclusively for cutting thread and fabrics. I try to keep these scissors away from other scissors so they don't get confused and used for things other than fabric and thread. When using a scissor like this, when we cut our thread, it ensures that the thread won't fray and we get a nice clean cut of that thread. So now that we're holding our needle the correct way, we can move on to putting the thread through the needle. So like I said, I'm using a needle with a bigger eye for this video for viewing purposes. First thing I like to do when threading a needle is I take the thread like so, I'll wrap it right on top and I'll pull it through. This gives me a nice little loop that I'm easily able to insert through my needle and then pull through, just like that. I'll do it one more time for you all. So I'm holding my needle with the eye facing me. I take my thread, I wrap it over the needle, I pull it, I slide it off of the needle, and I'm left with a loop here that I'm easily able to insert through the eye of my needle. And I can just pull that through until both ends are out, just like so. Okay, now that our needle is threaded, we're able to go ahead and tie a knot. So what I'd like to do is I like to start off by holding the thread each in one hand, and then I'll put them together like so, holding them equal. One way that I like to tie a knot is I hold the ends of the thread in my index finger, supporting it with my thumb. I'll wrap it around my index finger 2 times, and then I turn and roll that thread right off of my index finger. And then I pinch and pull. Because this gives me a nice easy knot. This is what I most commonly use. So I'll do that for you all one more time. So I have my thread. I'm going to hold my needle with the eye facing up. I wrap that over, pull it through, eye of the needle facing up. I insert my thread, pull it through, and now I'm going to go ahead and grab both ends. I'm going to hold that just like this in my index finger and thumb. I'm going to wrap the long part of the thread around my finger 2 times, pinch and roll it right off, and then I hold that and pull. Excuse me. All right, so I'll show that for you guys one more time. So once I have my thread on my needle, I like to go ahead, grab those 2 ends in my index finger and holding it with my thumb. I take the long part of my thread, the part that's attached to the needle, and I wrap that around my index finger once, 2 times. So it should look like this around your finger. I hold that there, and then I gently push my thumb forward while pulling my index finger back, and you can see how that thread is twisting, and then it ends up giving us this circle looking shape right here. From there, I would hold onto that circle and take my needle and pull slowly. As I'm pulling, I can feel the thread knotting in my fingers, and that leaves us with a knot. All right, well, that's the video. I hope you guys all had fun. I hope you all learned something new. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.